Welcome to the 36th annual Farm City Breakfast. What do you think about Davis County High School? Huh? It's a great setup, and they have been so helpful in helping us to put together today's breakfast. My name is Kirkpatrick. I'm proud to be the MC for the breakfast this morning. We've got a really good program for you, entertaining, informative, and I think inspirational as well. And we're here celebrating the partnership that the city and county enjoy. And I don't know if it's ever been stronger, and it's certainly a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here as part of that. We're honored also to have several very special guests here as part of the Farm City Breakfast this morning. We're going to start with the city. City Commissioner Deborah Nunley is here. Debbie, where are you? Right up there, thank you. Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright, also attending this morning. Pam, thank you. There you are. I was looking for it. Commissioner Bob Glenn is here. I saw Bob. He got the green shirt. Yes. And Bruce Kegel, our Commonwealth attorney, is here. Bruce, I saw, he's way in the back there. Hey, Bruce. Okay. And from the county, Judge Executive Al Mattingly is here. Judge, thank you for coming. Commissioner Charlie Casland, also, I saw Charlie come in. Commissioner George Wathen. George, I saw you first thing. He was here cooking, I think. And Claude Porter, our county attorney, also here. Claude, thanks for coming. And Susan Tierney is here. I saw Susan as well. Susan, there you are, our circuit court clerk. And from the state, we are very honored to have several of our representatives here. Jim Glenn. Jim was here earlier. I think he may have had to roll out, so we'll kind of fade away the clap. Okay. But Suzanne Miles is here. Suzanne, where are you? Thank you. Thanks for coming. And Representative Tommy Thompson here. What a busy schedule for him. Thank you, Tommy. And we are happy to have another state representative here. Ryan Quarles is here as well. Ryan, thank you for coming to the Farm City Breakfast this morning. We have to thank I met with this group for the first time about 5 months ago. It's the Chamber of Commerce Agriculture Committee. And the first time I had ever met with them, and it was inspiring, and it has been a pleasure over the past 5 months of working with this team. They do a lot of things besides the Farm City Breakfast, but they don't do anything better than the Farm City Breakfast. Would you join me in welcoming and thanking the Agriculture Committee from the Chamber, and those members that are on that board or on that committee, would you please stand? Thank you all very much. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And thank you for making my job so much easier during my time at the Chamber. You all have been a great inspiration for me. The Chamber just announced our most prestigious awards that we give each year. It's the Chamber Businesses of the Year. And we have representatives from all 6 of those businesses here today. I'm just going to run through them. Home Instead Senior Care, EM Ford Insurance, Leanne Music Dance Studios, the Malcolm Bryant Corporation, Brescia University, and Girls Inc. We want to congratulate them, and I think on behalf of the agriculture community, if you don't mind in joining me in congratulating those 6 prestigious award winners at the Chamber. And thank you all for helping us here, too. Thanks. So I was told that some of our members had won some awards, and I said, well, that's fine. Then I found out what the awards were, and I said, we've got to announce these. And the Kentucky Farm Bureau Award There's no stranger. This is an award-winning guy who has, I guess, won them all. He is so good. He's been called out of town, and I got his job today because he's on some national tour. But we are so proud of Jeff Nally, the Director of Farm Broadcasting for the Cromwell Ag Radio Network. He's a freelance journalist as well for the Washington, D.C.-based AgriPulse, and he was named the winner of the Kentucky Farm Bureau's 2014 Communications Award. No surprise to us, and we're going to have to clap pretty loud because he's in Washington, I believe. But Jeff Nally is a real treasure to our community, and we miss him. And so while we're talking about awards, you can't leave out Clint Hardy. Clint, of course, the Davis County Extension agent that has played such a pivotal role in our success. He won second place in the 2014 Excellence in Agriculture Award. And Clint was also our keynote speaker at Rooster Booster just last month. And so, Clint, thank you and congratulations. And one more, I saved the best for the last for the FFA Award. Many of you know Haley Harrington. From Davis County High School, she won the Green River Regional Freshman Creed Speaking Contest. And she'll be a great spokesperson for agriculture, and we want to congratulate Haley. Haley, where are you? She may be out giving a speech somewhere, but we are certainly proud of her. So to really welcome you from our host, the Kentucky Farm Bureau of Davis County and the Chamber, let me first introduce President Jeff Berry from the Davis County Farm Bureau. Jeff?
Some of y'all know I am not Jeff Berry. I am Jeff Koch. But no, Jeff Berry called me last night fairly late. He said, Jeff, I'm in bed with fever and puke and all that. Can you cover for me? So it's Jeff Koch covering for Jeff Berry today. I've already been teased this morning. I've been president of Farm Bureau twice, and they're cycling me through again. So everybody's starting to call me Jeb Bush. But no, as Farm Bureau, we do want to welcome you all here. What an event to get city folks and country folks together. And we just appreciate everyone that did show up. But I want to recognize our board of directors that work hard for us in Farm Bureau. Would you all please just stand? I'm not going to call your name, but just stand. You know, as Farm Bureau, one thing we always have in the back of our minds is we want to create a good community for everyone. And I think that's the goal of the Chamber too. So, you know, that brings us together right there. We can work with one another, and that is our goal, to work with you all. But on behalf of Farm Bureau, just thanks for being here today.
Thanks. Well, I think the representative from the Chamber is here, though. So please join me in welcoming the chairman of the board of the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce, Mark Martin. Mark?
Thanks, Kirk. Appreciate everybody being here. Jeff, it's hard to top that. Appreciate all those wonderful comments. As everybody knows, you know, agriculture is such an important part of this community. It's very important of the community I grew up in. So we're just blessed and honored to help sponsor this event. I want to take just a brief moment to thank all the Chamber staff for helping organize this event. Again, welcome, thank you, and enjoy the breakfast.
Thank you, Mark. Our program this morning is a little different, and I think it's going to be very exciting. We don't have a keynote speaker. We have 3 speakers. We ask each of them to take a specific different subject as it relates to agriculture and speak for 5 to 7 minutes to help educate us in these areas. So our first speaker, if you'll let me introduce her, let's see, Amy Jackson. Amy is the president of the Owensboro region of First Security Bank now, and it's a post that she's held since October of 2014, about 5 months and 2 weeks. I can know exactly because before that, of course, she was the president and CEO of the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce. But there she did some wonderful things with agriculture, along with advocacy, and really did a spectacular job, Amy. I know from firsthand, and thank you. Meanwhile, back to the introduction. She spent 13 years in the Farm Credit System. Amy earned an agriculture degree at Kansas State, and is a loyal K-State fan, of course, alumni. She grew up on a farm in northeastern Kansas, where she helped her dad raise cattle and more than 3,000 acres of hay and row crops. And she still owns a farm in Kansas and owns a small part-time farm operation with her husband, Chris, and her very helpful daughter, Audrey. She serves on the board of directors of the River Park Center, Puzzle Pieces, as well as the Parish Council. She's the enrollment committee and a long-range planning team for her parish. To talk about the economic impact of agribusiness in our region. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Amy Jackson. You've got to be real close to the mic, okay?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate all of you being here, and I want to thank Kirk for inviting me. And when Kirk called and invited me to do this, my first response was automatically yes. But then I started thinking about how difficult it really is to say what the measure of agribusiness and agriculture is in Davis County. We struggled with it at the chamber, and we talked about it in a lot of different ways, because most of us in this room know it and feel it and understand it, but actually putting a pencil to it is sometimes difficult with all the tentacles and all the things that we're involved in. So I'm going to give it a shot, and we're going to talk a little bit about it and put it into perspective. 8 or 9 years ago, there was a documentary that came out that was called The 1%, and it was about the 1% of Americans who hold more than half of the United States wealth. And I'm not going to reference it in that frame, but I'm going to steal that item and think about the 1%, because if you'll stick with me here on a few numbers, I've got something to share with you. One disclosure, though. Yes, I did graduate from Kansas State University, but my 1B on my transcript was Intro to Ag Economics. So don't hold me to these numbers. Joy, wherever you are, I have a lot of numbers in here, but I'm not the source. I looked them all up, so I can get those sources for you. So don't hold me to them. But stick with me on a couple of numbers here to talk about the 1%ers. There are 320 million people about in the United States. There are about 3.2 million farms in the United States. So that's about 1%, right? 1% right there. They farm about 2.1 million farms. Don't tell my bosses at First Security that I'm not all that good at math, but I think I've got that one figured out, right? So how does that 1% factor relate here in Davis County? We do have a population of a little bit more than 98,000 here in Davis County, and we have 3,165 people who live on farms and farm 837 farms. So our percentage is higher than that 1%er group. We're at about 3.2% here in Davis County, which we would expect given where we are in the United States with our access to great soil, good water. If you look at some of those yield winnings and earnings that are on there, things to think about where we are in the prime spot of the heartlands, quite truly, to raise and be in production agriculture with all of our transport, everything that we have available. So in Davis County, we're about 3.2%. But I want you to wake up a little bit, and I need you to follow along on this jingle. Can you sing with me? Because I know you're going to know this one. You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. How many of you have heard that one, right? It's on ESPN all the time. My 7-year-old sings it all the time. Let's talk about their stats. So there's 3.2 million farmers in the United States. More than 2 million people have signed up for farmersonly.com. So if your significant other is here with you, I don't know what that means, but that's a 60% ratio, right? That people want to be with farmers, right? So, but it is pretty funny if you think about that. But back to some more serious numbers, though, in Davis County agriculture. Let's talk about that. There's 300,000 acres in Davis County. 60% of that is farmed. is crop production and farmed here. So that's more than 178,000 acres, right? It's pretty significant, especially when you start putting a value to those acres that are farmed and are feeding the world around here. So if we look at the 2012 Ag Census, the market value of those farms is more than $3,800 per acre, or $1.1 million per farm on average. Now, I know the judge is here. I don't think that Rachel Foster is here, but that's a pretty good tax load, right, on those property taxes? We like that here in Davis County, and that's a big part of who our community is. How about another 1%er rate? Thinking about that great presentation that Clint Hardy made at Brewster Booster just a few weeks ago, using some of his numbers and the way that he helped us look at that, he noted that there's more than 80 businesses that derive all of their income or their primary income from agriculture. According to the U.S. Census, though, there's 7,000 businesses here in Davis County registered. That's a number that we always talked a lot about at the Chamber. That's just 1%, over 1%, right? Of those businesses derive all their income from farming. But all of us in that room know that that 1% is not true. There's so much more that comes from agriculture. It's a difficult thing to measure, but we all know what it is because we don't know how to put the agriculture measure to the tire shop, to the tax accountant, to the attorneys, and heck, all of us lenders in here. I think if we stood up, half of the room would be lenders, right? So we all know that agriculture contributes a significant amount more than what some of those 1% figures show. How about some crop and animal production numbers? According to the 2012 Ag Census, Davis County marked $176 million in market value of production sold. They also had $127 million in expenses. I know no better group that is an advocate of buy local, shop local than Davis County farmers. It's just who they are, it's what they do, it's where they shop. You don't have to ask any of us here in any of those businesses. We know that, we all benefit from that, and we very much appreciate that shop local mentality of our Davis County farmers. Another one that we like to talk about is employment. And again, those are difficult numbers to come up with. How many people are employed directly by agriculture or in ancillary roles involved in agriculture? Because we can't put a percent to how much time some people spend on it. But I did look up, because of the FFA and their involvement here and it being National FFA Week and all the things that were celebrated just a couple of weeks ago for them, they had put out a statistic with FFA when they were talking about their recruitment, and to combat some bad publicity that was out about agriculture not being a good career choice, they found out after much research that agriculture really is the #1 employer in the nation with more than 23 million jobs. That's 17% of the civilian workforce is somehow, some way directly involved with agriculture in the United States. Now, we don't have those numbers right here in Davis County, but we can relate that back pretty darn close and feel good about how the power of agriculture. While at the Chamber, I spent a lot of time talking to businesses, of course, and one of my favorite stories is when I went to Metalsa. And I was talking to their production manager and the plant manager and touring the facility and seeing all this advanced manufacturing and all the work that was going in there with robotic welding and the engineering that goes along with it. And I was talking to him about where do you find your workforce. And Jared Rickard said, you know, we get it from OCTC, we find it from other industries, we bring them in, but I'll tell you what I ask in an interview. I ask them where they grew up. And I will take a West Davis County farm kid over anybody any day. And that made me feel really good because he understood what comes along with it, right? Work ethic, the ability to problem solve, the ability to do lots of things and apply knowledge across all spheres. And so I think that's a great testimony when you go into an advanced manufacturing place like Metalsa and he knows exactly what kind of character that he's looking for and where he finds it in our community. You know, I can say that about my own story. I thought I was going to be a Jeff Nally when I was in college. I did radio for a while. I wanted to be on television, and I wanted to tell the agriculture story. We all know now I'm in banking. But what did happen is because of agriculture and because of FFA, all the hard work and work ethic and the ability to solve problems, even if it is with duct tape and baling wire, but the ability to solve problems and see something through is something that came through in character with me, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I know we'll get to hear from Amanda here shortly about FFA and what it does, but believe me, if you are out there searching for an employee ask them about what they did not only in college but in high school, because FFA is a great foundation for where you need to find people. So back to the 1%ers, before I get the hook over here. I don't know, they were supposed to be timing me, but before I get the hook, I wanted to say one more thing. You know, there's not another industry of this 1%ers kind of group that can weather essentially the storms of what it is. I want you to think about this. If any other industry in the United States was going into a year where the USDA is predicting a 22% drop in national farm income, do you think that would be the headline on every national news story and newspaper? Yes. But it's not right now. Our farmers know it. We feel it. It's the third year of a drop. It's the worst drop since 1931. But it's not talked about because that's a part of cycle of farming and what we do and pull up our boots and go back out and work. They are the most robust, tough group and the foundation of agriculture, or the foundation of our economy right here. Agriculture is the fertilizer that makes the rest of our economy grow. It's the foundation of everything that we have here. And so I want to commend all of those who are directly involved in it and all those who support it and all of us here today, because our agriculture community in Davis County is our foundation. They have a responsibility beyond anything that we can measure to feed the world, to create bioenergy, to care for and be good stewards of the resources that we have here in our community, to contribute to science and health like we'll hear about here in a minute, and they do it with 1% of the population generally. Farmers are outnumbered 99-1, but the power of the 1% is so strong, so dominant, so humble, so resilient. I'm certainly very grateful to be a part of it and glad to be here today to be a part of this. So I thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Our next speaker, excuse me, I'm checking my farmersonly.com thing. I got a message. I'll get back to you on that. Oh, our next speaker, yes, she works at Hillview Farm Meats. She works with her father and her brother in their beef, pork, and milk business. She labels packages and logs the weight of every package. She oversees the inventory, assuring that all the meat cuts are in freezers for our local farmers market. And then she attends every Saturday the market where she sells the product to the public. So she kind of does it all. In her spare time, she is a member of the Dance Blue Mini Marathon. In fact, she's the chair of that organization. She's with their student council, where she is the executive director of the, she's the executive secretary. Next year, she was vice president. She's the Apollo FFA 2014-15 chapter president, the 2013-14 chapter historian, yearbook student, growth, resilient, integrity, tenacity team leader, the Apollo Mentoring Program member, the FFA Washington Leadership Conference member, a member of the Institute for Future Agricultural Leaders, the Beta Club, National Honor Society, the Academy for Young Leaders, the Kentucky Youth Assembly, St. Mary Magdalene Church Youth Group. She was named the Senior Sweet 16 AB Honor Roll Noon Optimist Scholarship Award winner, Miss Apogee, a superlative in high school, Leader of the Month for Apollo High School, the FFA Chapter Degree winner, Apollo High School FFA Star Green Hand Award winner, the Apollo High School First Place winner for Creed Speaking, and the Apollo High School FFA Green Hand Degree winner. So that's all the time we have. I'm sorry, actually, Amanda, we have to skip along. Please welcome, is this not inspirational? Our future, Amanda Gillis.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm very honored. That was awesome. Good morning, everyone. As Kirk said, I'm Amanda Gillis, and I'm here to talk about the FFA organization in general and what we all do throughout the community. I first want to start off with talking about the FFA organization nationally and just a couple of statistics. In 1928, 33 students from 18 states gathered in Kansas City, Missouri to form the Future Farmers of America. In 1969, females gained full FFA membership privileges by vote of the National Convention delegates. And to today, all 50 states, along with the territories of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, are chartered members of FFA. This organization has over 610,000 members and 7,665 local chapters, which are committed to each member to develop their own unique talents and explore their interest in a broad range of agricultural career pathways. Their mission was to prepare future generations for the challenges of feeding a growing population. They taught us that agriculture is more than planting and harvesting. It's a science, it's a business, and it's an art. Today, the National FFA organization remains committed to the individual student, providing a path to achievement in premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. From knowing all that, I will say that was one of the main reasons I was so intrigued with FFA and wanted to be a part of it. And to honor and keep the tradition alive of those first Future Farmers of America, a national convention is held every October. National Convention is a 4-day-long event where members from all over the 50 states and 2 territories come together to learn and meet people with the common interest of agriculture. When at National Convention and walking around to see a mass of national blue corduroy jackets and corn gold stitched names of the states on the back, I am proud. I'm proud to be a part of an organization where we can all come together and share a common goal of spreading the knowledge of agriculture. I have met people from the Virgin Islands and talked with the Northerners who taught me that what's our water fountain is their bubbler. At the convention, we attend sessions with motivational speakers who fill me with a greater love for everything agriculture. To this date, my favorite speaker has been a Davis County High School graduate, Ms. Jonelle Futrell. Jonelle served a full year as a national officer by traveling the world and taking on a huge part in agriculture. She delivered a very inspiring speech about the importance of leadership and obstacles throughout life that may get you down, but it is important to always get right back up. The convention is held between 2 locations, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Louisville, Kentucky. The convention rotates between the 2 every 5 years, but for the past 3 years, the convention has been held in Louisville. Through the FFA organization, more than 60,000 FFA members have had an economic impact of more than $40 million and serves as the largest convention held in Louisville. Chapters from all over America will travel all day by bus and or fly to attend the National Convention and will occupy 136 hotels in a 60-mile radius of Louisville. I would like to commend not only Apollo FFA, but all the regional FFA chapters, especially Owensboro Catholic and Davis County. Our 3 chapters have a combination of over 500 members, which is a huge accomplishment. As mentioned earlier, one of the greatest parts about FFA is all the fantastic people we get to meet along the way. Together, all 3 of our FFA chapters have gotten to know one another. It is always nice to know students from other local schools and share memories together, from the competitions to the Kentucky Leadership Training Camp we all attend in the summer. These are the people that I will remember most and I'm lucky to have relations with. Together, along with the other regional schools, we compete in numerous competitions annually. With FFA, we have received the opportunities to participate in various speaking competitions and become familiarized with the procedures of parliamentary. Many leadership skills are acquired through FFA, and one is public speaking. We all first begin learning public speaking skills our freshman year of high school with the FFA Creed. The FFA Creed is a 5-paragraph description of what FFA represents. Personally, one of my favorite quotes from the Creed is, "I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task." Freshman year agriculture classes are required to learn and recite the Creed, which is actually one of the scariest things as a freshman. But the greatest thing is it helped me come out of my shell and more comfortable in the class. That Creed was only the beginning. With numerous competitions, throughout the region, we compete in impromptu speeches on a wide variety of topics about beef, swine, vegetable and fruit production, and even turf and lawn care. With an impromptu speech, we are given over 10 different topics on our chosen subjects. In competition, we have only 20 minutes to write a speech about one given topic at the beginning of competition. Afterwards, we then go and present our speech to qualified judges. This is a nerve-wracking competition, but through the FFA and through the help of all 3 of my FFA advisors, I became successful in the art of speaking. They taught me that presentation is key when public speaking and gave tips on projecting my voice, enunciating, and stance. I am now a confident speaker, which is often seen during my classroom presentations at school. Another very beneficial competition is a parliamentary procedure. With parliamentary procedure, we are taught to effectively participate in a business meeting and to assist in the development of their leadership, research, and problem-solving skills. It has taught our FFA chapters order and structure during any form of meeting. We learn all the rules involved and, most importantly, the specific wording, such as how to make a motion, amend a motion, and to be recognized for discussion. So as seen through the FFA organization, we are taught many leadership skills that will serve us significantly for the rest of our life. Along with the leadership skills gained from FFA, we also dedicate most of our time to serving the community. One of our proudest and enjoyable memories, or all of our proudest and enjoyable memories, are when we all join together for community service. We do numerous projects from planting flower beds to serving breakfast here at the Farm City Annual Breakfast. I know as president, one of my proudest moments is telling my chapter of a new project we are asked to help with, and even if we have to get sweaty or wake up early on a Saturday, I never hear one complaint about it. Together, at our meetings, there is an excitement to help people because that is what it is all about, giving back to others. I think I speak for all FFA members when I say we are proud to be the future in agriculture and we want to spread our love and passion for it. In doing so, we are inviting to anyone who doesn't live on a farm or know the first thing about welding, bedding plants, or how many stomachs a cow has, and we love to visit the elementary schools to teach them further about where their food comes from. The FFA motto says it all: learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve. Thank you.
Agriculture future pretty bright there after that. Our final speaker today will be talking about the future of agriculture of agribusiness in our region. Jennifer is actually a graduate of Davis County High School. She went to high school here, got an associate degree in applied science, and then a bachelor's degree in agriculture education at Western Kentucky University. So what does she do now? She is the plant growth lead manager at Kentucky Bioprocessing. She manages all of the plant biomass in use for the plant-made pharmaceuticals in a quality-controlled environment. She managed all of the field activities for research and development for local growers. She manages a staff of up to 20 employees. She played a key role in designing the 60,000 square foot indoor growth facility and implementing growth programs for different plant types. And you may have seen that on Bob Simon's 60 Minutes program just a couple of weeks ago or so. Jennifer's husband, Wes, is also a local farmer, by the way, and she has two wonderful helpers, her daughter, Aubrey, and Hazel Grace. To speak about the future of agribusiness in our region, please welcome Jennifer Poole. Jennifer? You'll have to be real close to the mic. Okay.
I know. Okay. Hey, hello everybody. Thanks for this opportunity to come and speak to you guys today. I think it's very funny because I was listening to you talk and I was listening to her talk and all our stuff's fixing to come together. So I think it's going to be really good. I hope it entertains you a little bit for your breakfast. A little bit about how I got to where I am right now. I was planning to speak today and I was talking with Clint Hardy and I thought, how in the world did I get to where I'm speaking at the Farm City Breakfast? You know, I was an FFA kid serving breakfast, and I thought, never did I think that I'd be here speaking. So talking to him, I thought, you know, I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't grow up on a farm. My dad didn't farm. I don't have uncles who farm. And it really got to me whenever I was in high school, and it started with FFA. So I was active starting from the freshman year up. Ended up being an officer on the team. I was the reporter. Welding team, speech competitions, very, very active in trying to get as many classes in as I can because, as you all know, agriculture is a very, very broad industry. There's lots of different ways that you can use your skill set or your interests to help our local community in the agriculture industry, and then to also, you know, take great pride in what you're doing and really enjoy what you're doing. And for me, that really came from, I really enjoyed science, not so much in the language arts and speaking properly, as you'll see, but very much into the science side of it and very much into new, novel technologies. So I continued. I worked with, see Chad Askins back there and Jason Smith. You know, they were my teachers whenever I was in high school, and tried to pay as much attention to them as I could and really gain as much information as I could. And it ended up leading me to going to community college here in town. I worked with Scott Williams. I saw him somewhere. He's the one that really kind of got my foot in the door into this I started an internship at Large Scale Biology. I worked under Mike Mulliken back there. He taught me everything I know, so this is all his fault. And he really kind of took me under his wing, showed me everything that they do. You know, Large Scale was very novel in the idea of using tobacco plants as a host to make plant-made pharmaceuticals. They use it grows very fast. It has lots of leaf tissue. Therefore, it has a lot of space to be able to do what we need to do. And so worked for him for about a year, learned as much as I could, really thought it was a good thing. As you said, went away to Western, continued my degree in ag education. I thought, you know, if I'm not a farmer and I want to keep my foot in the door doing this, one of the best ways to do it is to get other people involved. So I decided that I wanted to be an ag teacher, and I went to Western, got my degree in ag education in 2008. Came home, really liked it here, never had the ambition to go anywhere else, you know. Came home and did my student teaching at Apollo. Some of my students are here, actually. So anyway, did my student teaching at Apollo. It was very, very, very fulfilling. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know, thought that's where I was going to go, but I still couldn't kick this thought that I had about large-scale biology because I knew that it had been opened back up as a new company called Kentucky Bioprocessing. So I contacted some of my old colleagues and got in touch with them, and lo and behold, they were expanding and needed a greenhouse manager. Perfect. So I interviewed, got the job, went to KBP, started out by myself, bringing back all my large-scale skills, you know, clean those greenhouses, keep this straight, you know, all this stuff. So kept going, came bigger and bigger and bigger, ended up with a couple, 2-3 staff members, and as you were saying, we kind of had this little project come up in August, ZMAP. So we started working on the ZMAP program. We have, as you were saying, a 60,000 square foot indoor growth facility. It's 3 stories tall. Every story is independently controlled. They have their own lights, their own water, their own everything. We have to use our science skills to grow the plants and to be able to produce a consistent plant every single time, because all the regulations say that, you know, when somebody makes your Tylenol, you want them to make it the same every time. So I need to produce the same plant to be able to make whatever gene or whatever product we're trying to make on those plants. So we use our science skills to do that. We use our technology skills because I have computer programs that control the light schedules, make sure the lights come on when they're supposed to, that the water goes out when it's supposed to, that it's the right pH, it's the right conductivity. All of these skills have to be managed in a very, very tight, constrained manner. And I use, like you were saying, I have a staff of about 14 or 15 right now, and we all try to manage this on a day-to-day basis. And that's kind of our plant-made pharmaceutical side of it. It's the indoor side of it. And then outside of that, we work on natural products, and that's where we contract with local growers. I told Danny he's going to have to come up here and talk about this one. But we work with local growers. This was something that I learned at Large Scale also. Actually, my first day there, I think we were inoculating out in the field, and so that was fun. And But we work with local growers, and we try to find some of the natural products that come from the tobacco plants, and they provide the biomass, bring it to KBP, we extract it, we try to pull everything out of it that we can to try to make any kind of product that somebody wants. And that was one of the big differences between large-scale biology and KBP, is that large-scale had a few products that were their babies that they focused on, that they wanted to see move forward. And KBP works as a contract manufacturer, and we work with a lot of other small companies that have these ideas and come to us to be able to produce these plants on a larger scale, because we are the only place like this, in the world. So I think back, and I was thinking about everything that I learned in ag, as you were saying, everything that you learned in ag, and I think that my ability to think outside of the box, my work ethic, my science skills, my, wanting new technology, my being able to apply all of these things together is something that really helped me get where I'm at right now. And I think about Amanda speaking and think, she has a bright future ahead of her because she already knows this. When I was her age, I didn't know this. I thought, I just kind of like this stuff, and I'm going to see where I can go. So I think that it's really good, and I think the future of economy for agriculture in our area is about our young people. I think that they need to be able to think outside of the box. And yes, you need those people to go out there and plow the ground and produce the crops, but you also need those people that have, computer skills to be able to make those gadgets in your tractor that, that work and be able to make your stuff efficient. And then you need the people with a science background to be able to breed those crops and to make those seeds and get those, resistant genes and things like that to be able to make your crop as best as it can. So I really think that it's just, the future is, the people back there in the blue jackets. I think that needs to move forward, and that everybody needs to work together, and I'm just really glad that I'm a part of it.
Nice job. Wow. Well, our final portion of the program today is the presentation of the Farm City Breakfast Humanitarian Award. I looked up humanitarian in the dictionary, and it said someone concerned with or seeking to promote human welfare, and someone who's compassionate, humane, unselfish, altruistic, generous, magnanimous, benevolent, merciful, kind, sympathetic, and a leader. Well, that definition pretty much fits this year's recipient. His family legacy began, like his early years, in agriculture. Those farm days helped him to become a leader that would spend 60 years in the workforce. He served his country, serving as a captain and retiring from the United States Air Force. Then he returned to the community to share his talents here. He served as an industry official at L.R. Chapman General Electric Company, along with Texas Gas Transmission. He was then elected mayor of Owensboro, a position that he held from 1972 to 1976. But the roles that he played went well beyond industry or public service. He served on numerous boards, including the University of Louisville, Murray State University, spent 30 years with Brescia University, and received an honorary doctorate from them. His list of community and fundraising activities are equally as impressive, serving in a variety of leadership positions from the Owensboro-Davis County Chamber of Commerce, United Way, the Owensboro-Davis County Industrial Foundation, Junior Achievement, the Owensboro-Davis County Regional Airport, Industry, Inc., now known as the Owensboro Greater Economic Development Corporation. And then, in his spare time, he co-founded and chaired the Community Foundation for Owensboro-Davis County. He was a member of the very first Leadership Kentucky class back in 1985. He saw an opportunity on the river, so he created the Owensboro Riverport. His achievements have been recognized with literally hundreds of awards. And if I listed them, he would be embarrassed and we would be ready for lunch. I did find this quote in the Messenger that a quote from our recipient. He said, looking back, if I had retired at 65, I wouldn't have met and worked with all of these wonderful people for the past 23 years. I can tell you those sentiments are shared by everyone in this room. After emceeing one of my very first Rooster Booster breakfasts, and this was about 40 years ago, I was 27, whatever, and I got a note in the mail, and it said, "You did a fine job this morning. I think you should continue to use your talent in this area. You can make a difference." And it was signed by this recipient. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to recognize and introduce to you. He was already named Chamber Member of the Century, and I think currently he's in first place to win it again in 2114. It's my distinct honor and great privilege to award the Humanitarian Award to C. Waitman Taylor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, it's been a long road. And I guess the first shock I got is when you graduated from high school in 1945, you had employment waiting for you. It paid $51 a month, the U.S. Army. And I remember in March of 1945, the fellow from the draft board came out, and he was a tough old World War I veteran, been gassed and wounded. And he got us all together, and he said, "Boys, if you're already 18 when you graduate from high school, you'll be in service in 3 weeks. Otherwise, as soon as you're 18, it'd take 3 months to process you." And one of the fellows said, "Sir," said, "what kind of pre-induction physical do we get?" And he said, "Stand up, boy. Can you walk?" He said, "Yes, well, you'll pass." Because at that time, they were the draft age, you were either 18 or 38 when you went into service. This has been a wonderful honor, and especially from two organizations that I belong to and appreciate very much, and that's Farm Bureau and the Chamber. These two organizations and this breakfast this morning, both are indicative of the way our city and county governments are working together. And in all my years in Orangeburg, I've never seen better cooperation than now. And it shows on the progress we're making. So let's be sure we keep this up, and let's be sure we have this breakfast. It has been a long road for me, and I've had help from a lot of people at each place. I start with my family. I've had two wonderful wives. My deceased wife, Margaret, mothered 4 children, and Pat now, Pat 28 years. So I've been married a long time, and it's been wonderful. And the way Pat has embraced my family has been something to behold. But I've had help from a lot of other people. And I look back at my first job with Shorty Chapman, and when it was in the coal mine, and I was up in the coal chute, and I said, "What am I supposed to do?" He said, "The first thing you do is stay alive, and then you go from there." And then I ran a coal loader, and then I was fortunate enough to get work at General Electric. And then when I ran for city commissioner, and there were 24 of us in the commissioner race that year, and then I ran for mayor, I had a lot of help there. And I had some people help me get a job at Texas Gas, which was really great. And then I was with Industry Inc., which was another fine place. And then I wound up at the hospital. And I tell you, our hospital is something to behold. It's something that this community can be proud of, and it's making a real contribution. Also, I want to tell you, W.C. Fields once said, "Do not ever file an act where kids and dogs are involved." Well, I want to tell you, filing 3 great female speakers is pretty tough, too. And Kurt. But along the way, I think of Ted Smith. Ted has done enough for me that he can count me as a dependent on his income tax if he wants to. And another fellow that I feel very close to and admires Kurt Kirkpatrick. Kurt and I have a lot of fun. He kids me about my age. It has been a long time. And Kurt said that I cut the ribbon to open the Ohio River. And recently, I saw an article by Keith Lawrence, and I always try to read Keith, and he said the Ohio River was 1 million years old. So, but when I look at Kurt and the time he gives this community, and just think of all the breakfasts he's emceed, all the meetings he has attended at night, and he always does it with enthusiasm. He makes everyone feel they're part of it. And Kurt, I tell you, coming from you, this means more to me than any of you ever. Thank you very much.
Pat, thank you too. Congratulations, Waitman. Thank you for everything. And thank you for being here early Saturday morning to help celebrate our ag business. Thank you, the 3 great speakers, and of course the committee that put it together. We would like to invite all of you to Rooster Booster coming up next Thursday as part of the Chamber of Commerce's next meeting. Until then, have a wonderful Saturday. Let's pull UK through, okay? Good. Thank you all for coming today.